Assuming you know how to take the door panels off, then you're probably qualified to service your own furnace. Just doing a simple cleaning, nothing to it. Just gonna clean the blower motor, clean all the dust out of here, give it a vacuum or a wipe down or however much you think it needs. The blower motor is gonna be a little bit more intimate, but it shouldn't be too hard if you know how to plug things in, unplug things, and you got a simple set of ratchets. I'd recommend getting an extension, pretty good size one, and this little thing right here is a lifesaver when working in tight spaces. When you have to start getting that blower motor out, getting down in there, you're not going to get much rotation on a full ratchet. So I'll link something like this in the description for you. Go check it out. Off with getting the blower motor out. If yours is like mine, you have the circuit board in the front. You can see in the top you have the back end of two bolts right here, and then the top end of two bolts here. These two top ends connect to this switch, and if you yiggle it, you can see and you can hear. You don't actually have to take those out. You just need to take them out down here. You can get to them with your extension, get up into there, and then make sure you don't just try to pull down, because there's two tabs back in here. So what you're going to want to do is after you unscrew those, it'll slop down just a little bit, and you'll just slide it right out. That way you don't bend those tabs. If you do accidentally rip those out, you can bend those back with some pliers or something. It's only sheet metal. When taking your circuit board off, if you need to get your blower motor, make sure that if you're unplugging anything, you take pictures. Make sure they go back the same exact order. Very important, especially on your motor wires. And make sure you don't cut yourself on any of the sheet metal. Sheet metal is dangerous, trust me. Ask me how I know. There will be two bolts. I undid that one and loosened that one a little bit so you can see exactly where it will be. And after you take those two bolts out, you should be able to slide your entire blower motor assembly out, and then vacuum it out, clean it out, do all the things you need to do to clean it. As you can see, this one's pretty dusty in there. Probably hasn't been cleaned in a while. This blower motor now, I got it out here. It's pretty dirty. You got stuff on the leading edge and stuff inside. All that stuff's coming out, but you can check the play, and there's no play up and down, side to side. In and out is a little bit. That's okay. That's built into the motor, so we know at least the motor and the bearings are good in that. So you just got to clean this whole thing up, slap her on back in there. This thing out, it's probably the most time-consuming part. You got to make sure you get both sides of that drum, and look at how much dust and dirt and stuff we got out of this thing so far. I'm only about half done. This thing hasn't been cleaned in a while. After it's mostly all clean, I mean, it's definitely cleaner than it was. When you slide it back in, make sure you don't pinch any wires, tuck them up out the way, whatever you got to do. You don't want to create any shorts with all the sheet metal everywhere. Especially these wires over here as well. You don't want to pinch these down underneath as you're sliding it in, slice of wire, because then you got to deal with all of that. Clean that out too in there. Make sure you give that a good clean, a good vacuum, because whatever else is going to get picked right back up into your blower motor you just cleaned out. To put in your blower motor, make sure you align these tabs. There's one on either side, so they're in the roof and they're angled down just enough where you can get each corner in, get one side in, and then kind of shuffle the blower motor to get the other side in. So right now it's just barely held in, but I can shuffle it in, and then eventually I'll lift it up after it gets in a little bit more, and it'll slide right in. You'll know it's all the way in because there's a stop, so when you push it, it'll just stop, and then you're going to want to align your holes again with your bolts one side at a time, put them in, get them started, and then snug them up after you've gotten both started. If you're having trouble getting your bolt started again, don't forget you can pry up on the bottom a little bit. Just use your one off hand. I like to make a fist and just rotate it. Gives you some good pressure, so you'll get those bolts lined up on either side. So now that they're started, I'll snug each side up just real light, and then we'll tighten it up. Now I know, just like me guys, your mind is a steel trap, and you remember exactly where all of these wires go and in what order. And you definitely don't need to look back at that picture you took early after spending all that time cleaning that blower motor, where you're like, yeah, I'll totally remember. Yeah. You can either plug these in before or after putting the plate back in with the two screws. You can see them up top. Got the screw here, you remember. Little slots in the back. Or you can attach it first like I did. Secure it, you know. You're not going to need to take it back out, right?